Today, Precarious plays
Chrono Trigger.
So you're not feeling so good today, are you, buddy?
No.
You wanna play some Chrono Trigger? Have a nice relaxing time playing some Chrono Trigger?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh no.
You'd probably see if that's a Chrono weapon or a frog weapon.
Yeah.
Oh, it's probably worth mentioning that you just feel a little sick, not catastrophically,
Yes, this
globally
is not
sick.
This is not danger sick. This is just discomfort sick.
You know what? I keep seeing that online, and I don't know if it's a healthful behavior. People avoiding saying it's the virus that must not be named.
Well, yeah.
It's not COVID. You don't have COVID.
No, I have allergies bad today because of the time of year we're in, and all these trees, they just keep loving on each other, and it's like, ugh. Stop putting that in my nose. Yeah.
You know what is a problem for me? Since everyone's stuck at home, everyone is staying up to date on cutting their lawns.
Oh, it's so irritating.
Yeah, I should mention we live in an area where I think we've talked about it before, but it's just such a weird thing to consider.
Ooh, that's a big difference between the Masamune and a rune blade.
Okay, so it is a frog weapon. You should put it on, and if you do, just make sure to take the hero's badge off, because they work as a set, you know?
Hero's badge. What should I exchange for the hero's badge? Ooh, silver earring looks good.
Yeah, that's not bad. We're not using him right now. I would just put something simple on him, like the guardian bangle or the power glove. Just so that way he'll have something on.
Let's do power glove.
Yeah, they're pretty small bonuses.
Okay. Anyways, back to the map.
You just focus on playing, and I'll try to find things to talk about.
Yeah, that sounds good, because if you leave me to talk, I will start singing randomly, because when I said back to the map, immediately what came to mind was Back to the Past, Samurai Jack. And I just...
Back to the map.
Back to the map. Chrono Jack.
Samurai Pat.
Samurai Pat.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Well... Past doesn't really rhyme with Jack, does it? Oh, watch out. Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't good. So this is an example of the quality content that I'm trying to avoid putting into the world right now. It is taking all of my brains to rattle this out for you.
Well, don't forget about Valcom Strike, and I think you should be fine.
Yeah.
I think that it feels so... It's such a small thing to worry about. But this is a very precarious... It is a very precarious recording environment right now because, you know, people are stuck around the house. And, oh, that's right, cutting grass around here. We live in a rural, temperate region that has quite a lot of rainfall, and I remember seeing heated discussions online talking about how cutting grass is bad because it was in an environment, like the person speaking, and I guess it was all that they know, and I'm assuming that they're younger or a little more, they live in a more insulated environment or something. But the only way that you could arrive at a lawn that needed to be trimmed that way was if you were to expend water, valuable water, to get the grass to a height where it needed to be cut. And that it boggled my mind, because every part of it, right? It's like, wait, hold on, stop. So you have to water the lawn? Why would you water the... Because, I mean, if you were just gonna cut it, then... Okay.
Okay, Chrono's confused. What do I do?
He's not confused. That is amnesia.
Okay.
You can't remember his skills, so you could just ignore it and have him attack normally, and then use Isla and Robo to attack instead. They could use a combo.
Okay.
Because I think that they have some pretty strong ones.
Yeah, and his basic attack is pretty strong. Okay. Thanks. Although...
No, there are dual attacks. Robo and Isla have dual attacks.
Yes, but I believe that Isla needs a heal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So around these parts,
You have to actively spend time regularly killing the lawn to keep it in check.
Yeah,
otherwise it comes to destroy your home.
If you, it's a matter of like in the spring, maybe it's 6 weeks before it becomes a serious tripping and slipping hazard. You know, right?
Oh, less. Like, you get trees that show up, and it's like, woof, what are you doing here?
Yeah, that's another problem. It's pretty common to have to weed saplings, like pull young trees out of the ground, just because they're everywhere. It's especially problematic if they find a home right at like the foundation of a building. That's a nuisance.
And at this time of year, if you don't mow on every dry day, you end up having a hard time later.
Yeah, I often wish that if I could live somewhere more rainy, like if there were more precipitation, and then people remind me like, I don't think you really want that because you'd basically have to be living in the rainforest.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna need to heal between.
What, did you wallop people too hard?
Yeah, I walloped people too quickly.
You know, the thing that I'm hesitating to speak about, geez, where do I even start with that? So no, actually, it's sort of appropriate because the last time I think we were talking about Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Yeah, we were talking about not talking about it for quite a bit.
Yeah, well, now that it's been out for a bit, and I was gonna wait on it. My plan actually really was to wait until the next entry was going to come out, and then I was gonna play Final Fantasy VII Remake. Like, I don't even know how to guess at what the title will be. I wonder if they're gonna do like an RE, like maybe like a different RE every time, like recollect or reconnect or react, whatever.
I mean, that definitely is within their aesthetic to do that. What?
Like their naming convention. You've been in here before. You've done both of those rooms.
How did I get in here?
Left. Don't go down because then you just run away. R1 and L1. Until you escape. It's the passage on the left that you went into what looked, even to me, like a wall. But if you go noodle your way up a little bit, there.
Ah!
See?
Okay, thank you. Goodness.
This looks like a very bizarre, complicated environment.
Yeah.
So that was my plan. I was going to play Remake whenever, for the purposes of discussion, Remake Chapter 2, Volume 2, biggest chapter they use in the title. In the game. Whenever the second volume was going to come out, I was going to play the first. But then I started hearing some interesting things. And there are two things that made me want to play it now. There's a box. They blend in with the
really do
environment, so keep an eye out for them. I heard Jim Sterling describe the conclusion of the game as possibly sacrilegious.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and don't we love that?
Whenever I heard that, I was like, that actually... Well, it gave me hope that maybe they were going to do exactly the thing that I said they'll never do because it would be too expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Which is like... I haven't gotten there yet. I think that I'm still 4 or 5, based on like the achievements list. I think I'm about 4 or 5 chapters from the end.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of hope that they kill Cloud.
Ooh.
I kind of hope that they set up a scenario where they do a fake out and they make you think that like Aerith is gonna die at the end of this one, and then Cloud dies protecting her.
That would make people lose their minds.
I don't think it can be anything that big because I don't think I would have been able to avoid being spoiled,
right?
On such a huge change, but I hope that it's something at that scale. My dream was that they were going to look at that because I mean it wound up being a big deal because people reacted to it.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't have some like grand vision, I don't think. They just sort of killed Aerith on a whim.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like now, with the remake here, they have an opportunity to make it more intentional. And I think it would be great, even if it was like, so you can either play through the game and Aerith dies as you would expect, but maybe not. Maybe somebody dies in her stead.
Mm-hmm.
Like I could see like maybe like Red 13 working.
Yeah. Or
anybody that's been like exposed to a lot of Mako, like Cloud, or maybe Vincent.
Mm-hmm.
They would need to have it be at all practical. They would have to keep the options still kind of limited, but even just one, even presenting it as a choice where it's like, yeah, sure, you can save Aerith, you can save like the most famous person you can't save in gaming.
Yeah.
You can save them now, but who are you willing to trade? And I think that I would not expect any more than one option, right? Because even Mass Effect really struggled keeping the Caden Ashley choice up.
Yeah.
For 3 games.
Yeah.
Well, it was pretty close to the end, so two games really. But on the other hand, Mass Effect did it, right?
Yeah.
So I think that they could definitely, if they could spring that at the end of the first one, and if they only have 2 sequels, I think that they could do that. Not actually with Cloud. I don't really think that they would, because that would require too many changes, I think. But it would be cool. It'd be really cool if they were like, haha, psych, it turns out that Aerith is the protagonist of the rest of this mini-series we're making.
I have to say that since you have been playing it, I'm personally not interested in playing it because of how the combat is set up.
I'm not especially interested in playing it. We can talk about that in a different episode because we're getting pretty close to the end.
Yeah.
But what were you saying?
Well, I'm coming around to its existence because of the fact that it looks so much like Advent Children and I enjoyed that so much.
Yeah.
So I'm okay. I was grumpy, but now I'm fine.
Well, what I've done is I've essentially invited you to watch a really, really long Advent Children prequel.
Yeah.
Oh, the other thing that made me want to play it as soon as possible.
Yeah.
The Honeybee Inn.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say anything else about it right now, but the fact that they did something so elaborate and so extravagant and so wasteful.
Yeah, it was beautifully wasteful.
They looped all the way back around. So it's whenever I'm thinking about games now, I try to be mindful of the game as it exists, but also development, what it took to get all of that up on the screen, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you might recall that whenever I was talking about Final Fantasy VII Remake, I was lamenting, like, what they could have done instead. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how many Bravely Defaults were sacrificed on the altar of Final Fantasy VII Remake?
Yeah.
But they completely overloaded my sensibilities. Any sort of sense of responsibility, responsible development, you know? Having the Honeybee Inn be as extravagant as it is just blew me away. And no, you guys do whatever you want. You just sacrifice as many fledgling little IPs as you want if you wanna go to such extreme lengths for a scene like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever seen something so spectacular in a game before, full stop.